Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's episode of Canal Days. As always, I'm your host Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Kumu. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts, with Robert's expertise and the local history as our personal guide. Each episode, we uncover history throughout local communities, highlighting the historic landmarks and uncovering their seminal significance. Today's episode of Canal Days will be introducing and canvassing the churches of Agawam, Massachusetts. So, Robert, can you characterize for us the churches along Bridge Street in Agawam?
There are three of them. They're all Catholic. Only two are left. One is a replacement of the other. And they are St. Anthea Padua Catholic Church. It's been around now for 100 years. It was made for the Italian ethnic group. And in the back of it is a rectory that's hooked right into it. It's built in a Romanesque revival style. It's a very good looking place. Across the street also is a library that's approximately from the same age, about 1905. And this street has a lot of churches on it because the mill in West Springfield, across the bridge, had a lot of workers live in Agawam, North Agawam Village. And so there's also St. Teresa's Church, which is one of the ones still there. And it's a very unique look to it. It's a very thin steeple as you go up higher. And this one replaced a church called the St. William's Church that was about 150 feet more towards the north. And the St. Teresa's Church, it used to be a Catholic church, no longer is. So it's under different hands. But it has a nice stuccoed look throughout.
And can you particularize the churches that are on Main Street in Agawam?
Okay, the ones on Main Street are the following. There were three of them. The St. John Evangelist is on Main Street, and that was a Catholic church, and it's a very beautiful looking church, but it's new. So it's from 1971, I believe, and it has a nice look. It's more towards the back, so it's quite far off the road, maybe by about 200 feet, and then has an enormous parking lot in the very back. Also on that church, on that street, Main Street in Agawam, is the Agawam Congregational Church, which is on the same side as the St. John's, and it has the typical white steeple, white look to it, and this is a replacement one, so it's not the old one that almost every town or city in the Connecticut River Valley is going to have for a congregational church. So it's been replaced, but at least it's still there. And then there's also the Agawam Baptist Church, which is across the street from these two. And that one there is also well taken care of. It's very compact and it looks small from the outside. I'm sure it can still hold a few hundred people. But it looks very old. It might be the oldest of these three. By the look, I would guess it's like 1890s or so. So, three churches on both these two streets. But there's others.
Stick around, we'll be right back after this quick announcement. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? Or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy? Look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Kumu. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canal cemeteries, charming churches, or more, Robert's tours provide a unique and rich experience for all. And that's not it. You can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making for an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Simply visit HolyokeCanalTour.org or email bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com to book your private tour today. So, getting back to our episode on the Church of Agawam, identify the churches within the Feeding Hills area.
There are three of those. There's one Catholic one called Sacred Heart Church. And then there is the Feeding Hills Congregational Church and the Feeding Hills Methodist Church. Now, the Congregational Church has a typical white look to it and a very typical meeting house look to it. It's from the year 1835. It's now called the United Church of Christ. And it's found at 21 North Westville Street. And it's in the Greek Revival look that was very common in the 1830s. And it's been well taken care of, and same with its rector's house, which is just about 100 feet away. They're very nice. Now, also, like I mentioned, is a Catholic church, a Sacred Heart Church. Very big campus. This has the biggest campus of any religious organization inside of Agawam. It has a nice website for itself. The Sacred Heart Church is from 1946, so it's modern. It has a very unique looking cross, a very large cross right in the very front. Right, and then it's a squat church that's in the round, so it's a rounded off church. Very similar to the Blessed Sacrament Church in Hoyle. And it's found at 1065 Springfield Street. And the campus in back is enormous. It has athletic fields, probably used both for the public schools and also probably used on Sundays for religious groups. It has a large rectory off to its side. It's the house to its right side. And there's a lot of statues around, which is wonderful. There's even a Protestant cemetery across the street from it. All right, and then lastly, there's the Feeding Hills Methodist Church. And this church here was started up in 1901. It's found, very importantly, at 18 South Westville Street in Agawam. And that's important because it doesn't look like a church anymore. It's now a Christian education building. So it's lost a little bit of the religious look, even though it still is used for religious education. The library is in front of it, and that itself was an old building from 1905. And on the webpage for this church, I included a map of the area, so you get to see both the Congregational Church in Feeding Hills and also the Methodist Episcopal Church. And it used to be a Methodist Episcopal Church, which means that it was a church formed in Maryland and on the Episcopal values, but in a Methodist style, meaning a method to its style. So it was a new denomination within the Protestant church. It was not a combination of Methodists and Episcopals at all. And then it became a Methodist church, and then now an education building. So that's the three in Feeding Hills. There were three on Main Street, three on Bridge Street, and any more?
Well, tell us summarize other churches that they have throughout the Agawam.
Okay, so a lot of churches in Agawam, and there's one more left. Is the Hope Community Church. This one is found in Agawam itself, not in Feeding Hills. It's on a big hill, so when you go up there, you're looking down from a very high altitude, about 120 feet up here. And it's a very nice church up there with a social hall towards the back right. It has a large wooden cross. And it's built to look very much like a congregational church would look, except that it expands more backwards now. And it seems to be a very active place. And you get the finest views you might have from any church inside of Agawam. So that's 10 churches I've found in Agawam. If there's any more, they're probably not historic ones. Thank you.
And thanks for listening to Canal Days and our episode on the Agawam churches in Massachusetts, Agawam, Massachusetts, and joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and their fascinating stories that shaped our past in the state of Massachusetts. A special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. Remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, book private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune in to our next episode of Canal Days and log on to holyokecanaltour.org.